Hi there, my name's Paul, it's Plan Z. Yeah, my back's still fucked, so I'm still in this position, but we're going to go into a settings view in just a moment of the Boss GT1000. Listen, this is a boutique amp in low gain. That's using two notes on the Mesa Boogie. I've got all the other cabs set up for other videos, but just hang in there for a second. In this video, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how I route my boutique into those. I can also route it into my sub-outs, which has got the Boss GT1000 cab sim on it. Ooh, quite a different tone there. We've also got my Sheriff in the mix. Yeah, so let's dive into the settings. Let's see how we route things. And let's see if... I noticed something that I've not heard in the group. When I was setting this preamp pedal up. Now, this preamp pedal is like a proper little valve preamp. It's got actual valves in it, 4 of them. And I wanted to route it into here without the color being a color changing of the amp. You hear a lot about GT1000 colors things, and I think I found out why it colors things for people. I've not heard it mentioned in the group before, so I don't know if it's something that just either I've not heard about or is being overlooked, and might be the answer to getting a really good tone. Because when I did my AB in a few videos back, where I've got my Sheriff and my 2 notes, when I put it through my GT1000, it sounded exactly the same, and this is how I did it. Right guys, so the first thing I'd like to show you is we're going to go into the patch. We're going to go all the way to the end of the patch before I explain how I've done what I've done. And what I want to point out is my main out speakers and my sub out speakers are set differently. And this patch is set up that I can, when I hit a button, if you look at this divide right here, I can flick between the two. Okay, so that's what my 2 note sounds like. That's what my GT1000 sounds like on original speaker sim. Now I just want to quickly show you how the back is set up. So we come back here and I'm going to hit the menu button. I'm going to go into the in and out settings, and my main out, my output select is set to line phones because I'm going into 2 notes. It's got a line in, and there I'm going line in. But on my sub outs, and all the EQs are flat by the way, but on my sub outs I'm selected to recording, and I'm selected to recording so that I get on the sub outs. Let's now go to them. I get on the sub outs the option to change the cabs. So let's just that's the original. Let's just change this to 412s, for example. I've got them split because I've got different mics on each, so we need to just do it twice. 412s. Now I'm just going to go to the medium gain. Okay, so that's the 412s. Let's do the original on medium gain. Very subtle difference. Let's just flick that back. So there's more lower end energy and that less of the high end energy. Okay, and what I've got on the 2 notes at the moment is the Mesa Boogie 6L6 open back. And on my volume meter, my mixer, the sub outs is actually coming out slightly louder. Yeah, I think my 2 note sits better in a mix. So what we're going to do is going to leave that on 412s for a little moment, and I just want to talk to you about something that's really important. Now here you can see on this page we're in the right speaker for the sub out. I've got the mic level on 100% here, and when I click the arrows and go into the next page, the direct mix is at 0. Okay, this is quite important. I'm going to show you something on the other one that's a difference. So I've done the same thing on this one, only you'll notice my volume on the I'm using the dynamic 421 here. It was just a little bit too loud. I wanted to pull it back and to balance it with listen, you're here on the left side now. I'm going to strum the chord. I'm going to turn that up. The 421 is coming through just a little bit more on the left side now, so I'm just pulling that back just a touch there. Okay, so let's go back to the two notes. Now on this speaker there's a different story. I've still got the signal split. Because this one's set to line, I don't get the cab options. Obviously I'm using my own cab, but what's really important here is to turn this mic off. So you'll notice this volume here is at 0 and the direct mix is at 100%. Now what we're going to do now is we're going to turn the mic up to 100%. We're going to do the same on the other speaker. Remembering to turn down the direct mix here, otherwise we've got lots of signal coming through. Now that might not sound so different to you at the moment, but have a listen to this. We're just going to trigger off a loop. I'm going to do a loop. This will take a moment. Hang on. Okay, so now I'm going to bring the direct mix in. I'm going to take the microphone out, do it on the other speaker. Let's get rid of that. Okay, so now I'm going to switch between the two. Let's get rid of the beat and we'll just play the first one. I'm going to switch. Right, so what's going on in the first one is there's two mics going on. Obviously I've got the microphone and the cab happening on my two notes, but with the microphone volume up on this patch, it's like I'm double miking it. So you need to remember that if you're doing something like an IR or what have you, and you're set like line out like I am, you need to turn this mic level down and get your direct mix up. Now the other thing of note here is I'm just going to come back. And what you'll see here is I've got two different amps going on. So I've got a low gain amp, which is this one. And then when I hit my button, it goes to this, which is set to a medium gain. But when I hit another button, it changes it from middle to high gain. But let's just go to middle gain for a moment. So when I switch this divide here, this sitting in my effects return is the Sheriff, which you can tone match the medium channel with the booty cam. There's the boutique, there's the Sheriff. Slight difference, I've not dialed it in perfectly yet, I'm still playing with that. But anyway, now then, let's hear what happens to the Sheriff when I stick it through the main out. And now the sub out. And all of a sudden the volume level has dropped. It's almost like it's almost like it wants a preamp on it, but my understanding of how the sub-outs work, how these speakers work, is that it's like a power amp. Sorry, I meant power amp, not preamp. So let's just swap between the two here. The level's really good when I come through my 2 notes, but all of a sudden it drops here when I use my sub-outs. Now, I could increase the volume of my sub-outs output, but if I do that, when I come back to my boutique amp, which I've just brought my boutique amp in now, it would just be so loud. And I've got my sub-outs and my main out speakers balanced, so the same level of audio is coming out of both at the moment. I did an A/B on that in another video. So yeah, so that's a thing of note there. I'll just very quickly talk you through this is a template for me, so this patch will be the same patch used for all of the amps when I start the deep dives over the next week. I finally finished this patch, and I wanted to set up this speaker simulation difference, because in 2 notes we've got lots of different cabs to play with as well. So I start off with an EQ, and here I'm taking out a little bit of 160. I'm taking out a little bit of 315, and I do my low cut here. I do my low cut quite high at 125 Hertz. I come along here, we've set up a looper, but I've not got it engaged with any of the controls yet. And then here's my first send return, albeit I think it's send return 2, and it's got the HX effects in it. And here I can put on pre and post effects. There you are. I've just put on an overdrive coming from HX effects. Okay. And in HX effects I can put post effects on, but I'm routed that the post effects are coming, taking their feed from the 2 notes. Anyway, we come along the chain, and the first divide here is just doing that switch between the amps. So there I get my AIRD amp, and when I click my button I get my Sheriff. Now the Sheriff has a high gain. Let's engage that. Back to the medium gain. Let's go back to the boutique. Yeah, so I'll talk you through in another video when I do an assigns video about how I assign these amps and the change of that. Here, this is just left in stereo because I'm just doing the mono switch, if that makes sense. And then here I've got my parametric EQ taking out my high cut, and I'm doing my high cut at 8K, but I'm taking out 500 Hertz there, and I leave this one here free for me to play around with. So this one's set at 0, and then I just adjust the volume to volume match the EQ. And back in here you'll notice there's no EQ on the Sheriff, but when I come into the line up here, there is an EQ on the AIRD amp. Now on the AIRD amps, what I like to do here, I took out a little bit at the bottom end, and I pushed the top end by 1 dB on each side, and the level to balance, because what I've done is I've done a high cut to 6.3K here, and I've done a wide cut on 4K to take out some of that top fizz. And then here, to try and tone match to the Sheriff, I found that by pushing 1.6 Hertz there, got me to a place that was closer in the mid-range, switching between the 2. Okay, so then after that, I've got another divide here, and this one, I use it in, so I've got 2 patches of this set up. In this patch, when I engage here, it puts me into a split left-right. So at the front you can see I've got no dynamics or anything on, or filters. I just go to dual here, but importantly at the mixer here I'm going left-right, and I do the mix at 10 on this one. Okay, what I'm going to do is just do this last divide, and I'm going to show you how I use this divide in the next patch. So here I can now split that. This is now the GT1000. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to put the GT1000 back on original. put that on there. And let's put this on here. Actually, for me, that's a better time. I prefer it on the original. So yeah, let's do that with, actually, if I don't save anything that I did there, we're going to come out of there, and I'm going to show you how I use that divide now in this patch. In this patch, when we go in, you'll see the hitting the wrong button there. You'll see there's a very similar layout, albeit I haven't finished setting up the wet and the dry of this properly yet, but I'm using it to do this kind of a split. So if I hit this button, I get what I had a moment ago. This amp is dialed in differently, it's still the boutique. Yeah, and then I go back to mono, as with the other patch, but I also have in this one control over the left and the right of it. And what happens here, to do that, you just select for your channel switch, you just select you want to switch between A and B, and each time it switches, you want it to be on left right each time it switches. So you see I'm switching, but the left right doesn't change, it's only the channel that changes. Okay, and then on my other switch, the one that splits between the two and then comes back to one, that's the one that brings them back into neutral. Okay, and I do it across the two assigns. I'll do a deep dive on those assigns. Let's have a quick little jam. Right then, so hopefully now you can see the rig. We've got the V4 just here, we've got the HX effects there. Usually the top row is running front of amp and the back row is attached to this 2-note here. There's 2 of these little 2 notes, and at the moment, as I said, we're on the Mesa Boogie. But why would I want to route patches like this? Well, I really like using a valve amp, albeit a preamp pedal. It's got real valves in it, and to me feels fucking great. Okay, so the 2 patches we were looking at, this is one. This one deals with my left and right situation, and this one gives me stereo. So in this one, I've got the stereo field on 10, I think it is, and on this one, I've got it at 50%. So in the middle, and you'll hear it's further wider out. This is a bit more in the middle and less out in the furthest of the field. It's not in the middle, that's in the middle. But what I mean is it's not as far out. It's maybe at 15% rather than 30, you know, quarter past rather than half past. I'm not even getting this right. You can't see what I'm doing. Anyway, so let's have a little look at why I might do that. Now this is the same patch as the other one, but just set up for an acoustic. It's using only the GT1000 sub outs, and I've got the cab sim turned off, so I'm just using it as a line out with the acoustic sim on it. Let's just go to stereo. Okay, now I've got that in. What I could do is let's just stick the sheriff in the left, get some reverb on that from HX effects. Nice. Off. Now we could put in another part. Get that fuzz back on. got another boutique patch here. Let's just turn that down. Let's get rid of that guitar there. What we're going to do is just put some effects on that. Get that there. And I've just got a change the Mr. Poogie speakers. We're going to go to a Marshall Jubilee, which is a V30. We've got the Octafuzz on it. Okay, I did end up using 4 patches there, but a wide array of sounds and production effects that you can do. Hopefully that doesn't sound too bad, didn't go on too long, and I don't do your head in too much. Catch you later. Bye.